Hey, I just had a first session with the individual client, private client. It was, of course, probably a mom like you who is already getting calmer. She stopped being that nervous with her children. So she's in my boot camp and it's all working in the mental fitness boot camp, and she's getting the help, but she wanted to do one-on-ones on top because she's struggling with her husband. The dynamic of that relationship is becoming quite toxic. They're triggering each other and they're getting mad with each other. So we started the session by her feeling sorry that she cannot bring her husband on board as well, because he's absolutely refusing to do any couples therapy. And I was telling her, I'm not doing couples therapy, I'm not a couples or marriage therapist or counselor, but I do have a family boot camp, mental fitness boot camp for families, where you can bring your spouse, even your kids, if they're 10, 11 years old, because what I'm teaching in my course, in my program for individuals, it actually works even better if you do it together with your family. But of course, her husband wouldn't have it, because all of his voices in his head got triggered, like all of his fears, and he got on defense, like, why would I need to change? I'm doing great. Like, what is this nonsense? Are some weird, strange lady is going to tell me about how I should get better and how I should talk to my wife and how I should raise my kids? Like, I'm doing great. Like, who are you to tell me that I'm not? So that didn't work, and she was triggered by that as well. But I'm sharing this with you because we started working on her. So she booked those individual sessions for her. She knows, she recognizes that she can be feeling better. She wants to be feeling better. She doesn't want to get triggered. And where we got in that session was just 35 minutes long, actually. I should say 35 minutes short. We realized that she's mainly triggered by her husband because he's some kind of higher executive. And when he comes home, when the kids are in bed, he starts asking her these questions like, have you done this? And let's check this. And is this done and organized and clean? And like everything, he basically starts micromanaging her as if she was his employee. And she gets triggered by that because she was like, I want to get equal. I feel like he's putting me down. And so we started digging in that feeling, because the dynamics has two parts, right? Even if somebody is putting something on you, if you choose to disengage, nobody can ever make you feel like anything, like equal or below or up. Like, this is you here. You can choose to disengage. But if somewhere in you is a belief that you are subordinate, that you're feeling like an employee, then that's how it feel like to you, right? So I took her, what I did, and sometimes people are like, oh, therapy, and it's just blah, 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 and it will make me feel even worse. And I used to go to therapy for months and it didn't help. So I want to share with you what I did. I spiraled as if you could spiral back in the past. I made her spiral back to the first time she ever felt that way. That she was not good enough, that she should have known better, that it was her fault or whatever. And she realized that it goes back to her childhood when she was 8, 9, 10 years old. She was doing competition. And her dad, always then afterwards in the evening, in front of the whole family and friends in a restaurant, she said, well, my daughter did competition today and she didn't win again. She was second or third or whatever in front of everybody. Big disappointment, and basically making her feel, since then till now, that you're not good enough. If you don't win the competition, you're worthy of nothing. Okay, and that stuck with her. And so no wonder that since then, not only with her husband, but even with her friends, she's feeling like, if I don't win, like everything becomes a competition basically, where you're competing and comparing to others. And if it's not you, the winner, then you're not good enough, you're worthy of nothing. And her logical brain, of course, knows this is not true, and that's not what she's teaching her kids. And when they go into competition, she tells them it's not about winning, it's about enjoying the process. But deep down in her subconscious mind, in her heart, there's still that little girl who got shamed by her father and who didn't get enough unconditional love and who didn't get that approval and that feeling of worthiness no matter what. That girl is still there, and that it's her little girl who gets triggered. in those discussions with her husband, right? So in just a few minutes, we went back, we rewrote that memory, we gave it a different meaning, we healed that. And now it will be up to her to keep going and checking with that inner child, basically, of her, who needs to heal and who needs to keep being reminded that she's worthy of all the love in the world, that life is not a competition. None of the interactions with her loved ones are, and that she's perfectly imperfect and worthy of love, unconditional love, exactly the way she is now. Even if she makes mistakes, no matter what happens, even if nothing happens, like, she's amazing already. So I'm sharing all of this with you because I want you to know that, first of all, if you're having troubles in your husband, partner, spouse, you don't necessarily need to go into couples therapy in order to stop some of your toxic relationship dynamic. You can start working on yourself. Second, there are new ways of doing therapy. It's not always the blah, 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 where you need to keep talking for hours and months and you just feel worse because you keep being the victim of your stories and you just feel again all of that pain that you felt when it happened. That's not what we do. And it can be really efficient and fast, which is really like in 35 minutes we had all of this discussion, including the little therapy piece and the healing. Okay, so that's why I wanted to share it with you, because I have lots of new women coming to my space and they're like, so what are you exactly doing? So yeah, there are two pieces. There's the mental fitness, which is where I meet you. That's where we start. This is the easiest piece that you can start doing by yourself, and I give you everything you need to do that. And then there's the second piece where we go a little bit deeper, and that can be done only in individual sessions where you feel safe, where you feel like it's our environment only, there's nobody else listening. And that's when we can go and do that. I call it subconscious mind surgery because it's very efficient. We go straight to the point where it hurts and I help you heal it. Very fast, very efficient, and you get a lot of relief, not only in that place, like she came here to get help with her relationship with her husband, but what we did actually will have impact throughout her life, in those relationships with her friends, in other situations when she got triggered in exactly the same way. She will show up differently as a mom as well. Because one thing is telling your kids that life is not a competition and you don't have to win. And another thing is that when you really feel it at the core of your being that it's true, then you show up completely different for your kids as well. So this is just a long story that I wanted to share with you. If it's you who needed to hear that today, so let me know, send me an email, find me on socials, let me know how that resonates with you and what is it maybe that you've been struggling with and you've been hesitating to get help on, and let's talk about it, what's possible. Take care, Supermom.